Welcome back to Beyond the Numbers. I'm Bev Wakefield, and this is the podcast that breaks down the numbers in a way that actually makes sense and helps you build a business that supports your life, not the other way around. If you've ever had those quiet moments where you found yourself thinking, should I grow this bigger? Or why am I working harder but earning exactly the same? Then this episode is for you. Because the goal isn't growth, the goal is growth on your terms. Growth that supports your life, growth that protects your well-being, growth that builds assets, not anxiety, and growth that expands your freedom, not your to-do list. And that version of growth, it doesn't come from growing for the sake of being bigger. It comes from growing smarter, intentionally and sustainably. So let me take you back for a moment. When I started Vibrant, I thought growth meant more clients, more work, more revenue, more staff, more everything. It looked good from the outside. People would have said, wow, the business is really growing. And as the business grew, my stress grew faster than my results. My diary was back to back. I was constantly delivering, constantly problem solving, constantly firefighting. I was taking on more and more because that's what I thought growth required. I felt pulled in every direction, like I was holding the entire business together with my own hands. And here's the part many people don't expect. I made more profit in year 2 than in some later years when we were much bigger. But, and this is important, year 2 was not my visionary year. I wasn't being a strategic leader. I wasn't building assets. I wasn't creating content or frameworks. I wasn't designing the future of the business. I was simply doing the work. And because the business was smaller and leaner, the numbers looked better, but the growth wasn't intentional, it wasn't scalable, and it certainly wasn't sustainable. I knew I wanted to grow, but I wanted to grow on my terms, not in chaos. If you take one thing from today, let it be this. You don't scale revenue, you scale capacity. Most businesses don't hit a revenue ceiling, they hit a capacity ceiling. Capacity in time, energy, leadership, systems, team, finances, quality and well-being. And when your capacity is already full, especially full of the wrong things, no new strategy will save you. No new client will fix anything, and no new hire will magically free you. No fancy scaling plan will suddenly work. You're not stuck because of revenue, you're stuck because of capacity misalignment. We all know the saying, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is reality. Let me add a fourth. Capacity is freedom, because you can grow bigger and still earn exactly the same, feel overwhelmed, lose your evenings, lose your weekends, and lose your sense of control. And lose sight of why you started any of this in the first place. So the goal is not bigger, the goal is better. Better margins, better systems, better boundaries, better clients, better pricing, better clarity, better you. Let me show you why most business owners feel overwhelmed. So on this diagram, this top part is visionary. This is the strategy, the leadership, the future design. Here in the middle, this is you as a deliverer. This is where you're doing client delivery, problem solving, everything like that. And this bottom one is the generalist. This is where you're getting caught up in emails, admin, doing all that firefighting, all the quick jobs. And this is where most business owners live. And it's where I've lived as well. So not because it's strategic, but because it's familiar. You get stuck doing. So the generalist work because it feels urgent, deliverer work because it actually pays, and then visionary work gets squeezed into whatever is left, which is almost nothing. So this pyramid creates overwhelm, it creates bottlenecks, firefighting and exhaustion. It also leaves you with no space to think, no room to breathe. And this is the real reason most people feel stuck. Now, this is how we want to be flipping it. Now, this top part is the largest part. So as you're visionary, you're spending more time here. This becomes your foundation. Strategy, CEO time, looking at content and assets, and building recurring revenue. It's all about starting to build partnerships, working on your brand, making sure your systems are all done, you've got your pricing nailed, and you're looking at demand creation. This visionary work has years of impact. Now, the next zone is obviously the deliverer zone, and here, supported by visionary, you can do client delivery, high value expertise, sales, proposals, and problem solving. But you can notice that this quadrant's a lot lower. Deliverer work pays the bills, but it can't build your future. Now, the generalist part should now be your smallest quadrant, the smallest slice, where you're doing only a small amount of admins, emails, chasing, firefighting, and those low leverage tasks. Now, generalist work is the quickest route to burnout. Most business owners are balancing their entire business on the smallest part of their role, the generalist role. No wonder it feels heavy, no wonder it feels chaotic, and no wonder you feel stuck. But this is how to grow profitably, sustainably, and on your terms. Deliverer work pays the bills, but the visionary work builds the future. When you're stuck in generalist and deliverer work, you spend your life reacting, firefighting, repeating, supplying and chasing. This is supply mode, constantly feeding the business so it doesn't collapse. But when you step into visionary work, you attract the right clients, you create demand, you set direction, you build assets, your brand carries weight, your team gains clarity, and the business finally starts to support you. This is what growth on your terms looks like. So if I could start again, I would build the visionary muscle sooner, create content earlier, build assets before building a bigger team, stop chasing supply, hire support earlier for especially that generalist work, raise prices sooner, design recurring revenue from day one, use systems immediately, block out some CEO time every single week, and prioritize my vitality, not just output. And I would remind myself, busy isn't a badge of honor, vision is. So this week, I want you to track your time. Put each hour into one of these buckets: generalist, deliverer, visionary. And then ask yourself the uncomfortable but necessary question: is my business growing, or am I just feeding it? Because your business grows exactly where you spend your time. Spend more time in visionary work and you will grow on your terms. In the next episode, we're diving into building for freedom, not just to sell.